The Boy and the King and People of the Trans Ashabul Ukhdud. Suhaib ibn Sinan reported that the messengers of Allah told, "There lived a king, Yusuf Dunawas, before you, in Yemen, and he lived about 70 years before the birth of messengers of Allah, and he had a magician. As the magician grew old, he said to the king, 'I have become old, and my time is nearly over, so send me a boy, whom I can teach magic.' So he sent him a boy, Abdullah ibn Tamir, and the magician taught him a magic. On his way to the magician, the young man found a monk sitting there and listened to his talk and was impressed by it. It became his habit that on his way to the magician, he met the monk, sat there, so he was late in coming to the magician, who beat him because of the delay. The young boy made a complaint about it to the monk, so the monk said, 'When you feel afraid of the magician, say, "My people kept me busy." And when you feel afraid of your family, say to them, "The magician kept me busy." It once happened that there came a hawk beast of prey, and it blocked the way of the people. The young boy said, "I shall find out today whether the magician or the monk is correct in belief." He picked up a stone and said, "O Allah, if the teaching of the monk dear to you, then the teaching of magician bring death to this animal, so that the people will be able to move about freely." He threw that stone towards it and killed it, and the people began to move about on the path freely. The young man then came to that monk and informed him. The monk said, "My son, today you are superior to me. Your affairs have reached a stage where I find that you will soon be put to the test, and in that case, don't reveal my identity." The young man began to treat the blind for those suffering from leprosy and began to cure people of all kinds of illness. There was a courtier of the king who had become blind, and he heard about the boy. He became and brought a number of gifts for the boy and said, "If you cure me, all these things collected together here will be yours." He said, "I myself do not cure anyone. It is Allah who cures. If you affirm faith in Allah, I shall also supplicate Allah to cure you." He affirmed his faith in Allah, and Allah cured him. He came to the king and sat by his side, and he used to sit before. The king said to him, "Who restored your eyesight?" He said, "My lord." The king then asked, "I did?" The courtier said, "No, my lord and your lord, Allah." The king said, "Do you have another lord beside me?" He said, "Yes, your lord and my lord is Allah." Whereupon the king took hold of him and tortured him until he revealed the identity of boy. The young man was summoned, and the king said to him, "O boy, it has been conveyed to me that you have become so talented in your magic that you cure the blind and the suffering from leprosy, and you do such and such thing." Thereupon he said, "I do not cure anyone, it is Allah who cures." The king took hold of him and began to torture him. So he revealed the identity of the monk. The monk was summoned, and it was said to him, "Turn back your religion." He, however, refused to do so. King ordered a saw to be broke, and it was placed in the middle of his head, and it fell apart. Then the cantarrier of the king was broke, and it was said to him, "Turn back your religion." But he refused to do so. Then the same was done with him as well. Then the young boy was broke, and it was said to him, Turn back from your religion." He refused to do so, and he was handed over to a group of his contrarier. He said to them, "Take him to such and such mountain, make him climb that mountain, and when you reach it is top, ask him to give up his pen. But if he refuses to do so, throw him down the mountain." So they took him and made him climb the mountain. The boy prayed, "O Allah, save me from them in any way you will." The mountain began to quake, and they all fell down. The boy came walking back to the king. The king said to him, "What has happened to your companions?" He said, "Allah has saved me from them." He again handed him to some of his contrariers and said, "Take him and carry him away in a small boat, and when you reach the middle of the ocean, ask him to give up his religion. But if he does not give up his religion, throw him into the water." So they took him, and the boy prayed, "O Allah, save me from them and what they want to do." It was not long before the boat overturned and they were drowned, but he came walking back to the king. The king said to him, "What has happened to your companions?" He said, "Allah has saved me from them." He also said to the king, "You cannot kill me until I tell you how to do." He asked, "What is that?" The boy said, "You should gather people on a plain and hang me by trunk of a tree. Then take an arrow from the quiver and say, 'In the name of Allah, the Lord of the worlds.' Then shoot an arrow. If you do that, you won't be able to kill me." So he did this, and placing an arrow in the bow, he shot it, saying, "Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in the name of Allah, the Lord of the young boy." The arrow hit the boy in the temple, and the boy placed his hand over the arrow wound and died. The boy proclaimed, "We affirm our faith in the Lord of this young man." The contrarians came to the king, and it was said to him, "Do you see what has happened? That which you feared has taken place, that their faith is in the Lord." So he ordered that ditches to be dug at the entrance to Den Roch, And it was done, and fires were kindled in them. Then the king said, Whoever abandons his religion, let him go, and whoever doesn't, throw him into the fire. The people courted that, but did not refuse their faith from Allah, until a woman came with her baby, whom she was breastfeeding. She felt hesitant about jumping into the fire. The baby spoke to her, Be patient, mother, for verily you are following the truth. Muslim and Imam Ahmad recorded it. According to some reports, about more than 12,000 people were burned into ashes. After that, the fire flared up so high and that it spread out wildly throughout the city and burned all those who were watching the fun of burning the Muslim. Only Yusuf bin Nawas, the king, managed to run away and throw himself into the sea in order to save himself from the wrath of the fire, but he got drowned and died. Tafsir Mazhari. It was about the Nawas and his army that Allah revealed to his messenger. In Surah number 85, Al-Buruj, the reference is made to these incidents. The Holy Quran. Cursed were the people of trance, the people of the fire that was rich with filth, when they sitting by it and were watching what they were doing with believers, and they had blamed them for nothing but that they believe in Allah, the Almighty, the worthy of all praise, the one to whom belongs the kingdom of the heavens and earth, and Allah is witness over everything. Surely those who persecute the believing man and the believing woman then did not repent. For them there is the torment of Jahannam, hell, and for them there is the torment of burning. In a narration of Muhammad ibn Ishaq, it is reported that the place where the boy Abdullah ibn Tamir was buried had to be dug up for some important reason. During the time of Sayyidina Umar R.A., it was found that the body of Abdullah ibn Tamir was unharmed, and he was sitting up. His hand was placed on his hip joint, where the arrow struck him. People moved his hand out from that place, and his foot started bleeding. When the hand was placed back in its position, the bleeding stopped. There was a ring in his fingers, which had the inscription, Allahu Rabbi, Allah is my Lord. The governor of Yemen informed Sayyidina Umar R.A. about this, and he wrote back in reply, cover the body back, as it was with his fingering. Tafsir Ibn Kathir.